Hey, doodling can be a lot of fun. I like to make drawings and make different doodles. Here's my sketchbook. Came with this nice little giant rubber bandy thing. The name of the brand is Papalot. It's a Czech brand. And then just some Faber-Castell pens, 0.5 and a 0.1. I remember getting these pens when I was younger, the technical pens from Faber-Castell, and it was pretty nice to get them and clean them. Let's find a new piece of paper. Cool. Now this should be in the right place, hopefully. And we're going to start a doodle. This one's just going to start with a circle. And from that circle, I'm going to draw another circle. On the opposite side. From that circle, I'm going to draw another circle. Again. On the opposite side. Cool. Now I'm not really sure, but right now I'm still trying to figure out what this thing could be. This looks like it could be a nose. So I'm going to pop some eyes on there. Nice. And of course we have to put the pupils in. It's good to work with really thick but smooth paper, because you don't want your pen to be going on some sort of mountainous range. I'm gonna put my headphones on, listen to some Plastic Man. It helps me zone out. It's always good to get into the right frame of mind when you're drawing. Often they say that there's this myth, well, somewhat of a myth, about left brain and right brained activities. I'm sure everyone has heard about 5,000 times. But there are some truth to that. Sometimes you just have to trust yourself instead of planning everything out. As of right now, I still have no idea what this thing is going to become. But we're just going to keep building. And when you're never sure what you're supposed to do, you can just start playing with patterns. At this point, we're not really too focused on features of the face or anything. In fact, this guy's nose is kind of ridiculous. It looks like I don't know, like some sort of pipe is coming out of his nose. But we can figure out a light source. Which way is the light coming? Is it coming from the left? Is it coming from the right? Doesn't matter. Try to make it consistent. We'll play around with it not being consistent. Generally, when we see any line indicates two things. One is going to be a wrinkle, like a line of shadow, kind of like what we're putting around these eyes. But a line is basically just a visual construction which gives us an indication of how we perceive the world to be and how we've learned to read flat surfaces. So we started making lines. Started putting them on vases and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with just making more and more lines. So it's 34, I guess I could see. I've got about 20 more minutes, which is alright. Trying not to get my hand in the way so much, but it's hard because when you're drawing you can choke up on the pen. You can see I hold the pencil kind of strangely. I don't even know what these eyebrows are doing. No, it doesn't matter. Simple concepts, just like overlapping shapes. Make a lot of sense. Pretty easy to overlap shapes. This guy's gonna have some receding hairline, starting to look kind of like a piece of broccoli almost. You can always just draw with your shadows. Like when we were painting, just drawing with big shapes of value. You can do that just with cross-hatching. A lot of time people ask me, how do I get better at cross-hatching? Well, you just practice. Soon you will draw a ridiculous head like this. When you put a line down, you should just commit to it. Don't go back over stuff. Put it down once and leave it. This guy's kind of ridiculous. That's alright. Kind of want him to have a large mullet. During World War II, there were two brothers who owned a shoe factory. And they made a bunch of different types of shoes in Germany. And one was named Adolf. I believe their last name was something like Dasselheim or something like that. And the other brother's name was Henrik, I believe. Anyway, during World War II, Henrik, the brother, became a big supporter of Hitler and Nazism, whereas Adolf chose to kind of lay low, and when the Allies came and liberated the area, Adolf actually narked his brother out as being this big-time Nazi, his business partner in the shoe company. So his brother went to jail for a few years, and when he got out of jail, his brother started a company, and that company is Puma. But the other thing about that is that the other brother, having half of this shoe empire, wanted to keep making shoes as well. So he made his company, and as a child, his friends would call him, short for Adolf, was Adi, A-D-I. So he changed the company to have the first 3 letters of his first name, ADI, and the first 3 letters of his last name, which was like Dasselheim or something. But anyway, it became Adidas. Cool. So, this guy's nose is getting more and more ridiculous. Let's push these shadows a little bit further back. Again, it doesn't matter. When you look at this, you're like, what is that nose? I don't know. I don't care. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I started this drawing having no idea what I was going to create. 30 minutes later, you end up with this ridiculousness. Just keep figuring out where your shadow's gotta go. You see big areas with no shadow, like where the cheeks are. Think about the structure underneath. Where would stuff go? To give an iris to the eye. Cool. So instead of drawing these shadows, we can just draw them with, drawing these with lines, we can just draw them with shapes. More shadows. A lot of drawing is just about contrast. Contrasting one area up against another area. So where we have splits, like the face against the hair, we can put a contrast there. That's going to be darker. We can kind of keep doing this forever. Maybe he's got a little tough here. I had a student ask me if I had done a lot of acid, and it's kind of none of nobody's business, but regardless, you can create these shapes just from your imagination. We all dream every night, perhaps about the clown with the mullet. Maybe this guy's a clown. Still don't really understand what this is for a nose, but it's where I started, so I'm gonna have to stick to it. That's inside. Yeah, now it's looking more ridiculous. Ridiculous can be good though. There we go. You know, when I was in Glasgow, I didn't have many problems. People always consider it to be this really dangerous place. But there used to be this bar there called Nice and Sleazy's. I hope it's still there. And I used to record the open mic nights there, just on my little mini disc player. And I heard they stopped making mini discs, which is kind of a shame. But anyway, I was going there one day, and I was recording there, and my batteries died. Because my battery's about to die in my camera, so I'm gonna have to kind of wrap it up. But I went across the street to buy some batteries from a little convenience store place, and there was a bunch of skinheads inside. Or skinheads, or hooligans, or whatever you'd like to call them. One kind of looked like this guy. And he heard my accent and he said, "Where the fuck are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Canada." Even though I'm not from Canada. Sorry about that, Canadians, but when in doubt, you're about to be accosted. You're always Canadian. We don't need John Ashcroft to sing when the eagle soars at every event that we have in life. Although I do believe that Ashcroft is now available for children's parties, so you can rent him out occasionally if you wish. When the eagle soars, he soars higher than he's ever soared before. But anyway, at the end of the day, the skinheads didn't actually do anything. But they did think I was a fag because I went to art school. So I guess it worked to say I was from Canada. Just giving some more shape here. Cool. So we can draw with cross-hatching. Now that we're at this stage, there's a lot of people. We can add a little bit of a background. No, don't come in. Come on. She thinks I'm in my style. I should want people to come in. It's in my shop right now. People are looking in. This stuff is good. It's India ink. Basically what you can make tattoos with it if you want. And this is just a Coke bottle lid. So we find the desired darkness. We can kind of go around this guy. Just kind of pop him a little bit from the background. With watercolors, or this isn't watercolor, I guess, but just giving him some contrast from the background. Use those little pools. Create some shadow. Hurrah! Super. Always add another layer. The ink will always walk where it's supposed to in the end. Cool. Yeah. Generally it would be better to think about where you're going, but we're just going to kind of make this guy in this little box now. Because one, I've only got a little bit of time left. Why is it looking for pictures? So let's pop in some of these shadows before we finish. Big shapes. We already mapped it out a little bit. This is kind of where some of these areas will really begin to sing. No need to take anything seriously.